You don't become different versions of yourself because you're fake. You do it because once, being fully yourself had consequences. Not dramatic consequences. Not movie-level moments, small ones. A tone that wasn't received well. An emotion that felt like too much. A reaction that made someone pull away. Psychology shows that when authenticity leads to discomfort early in life, the nervous system learns something quietly. Adaptation is safer than consistency. So what looks like personality shifting is often emotional intelligence shaped by experience. Here's what's really happening. 1. You learned early what real emotional closeness feels like. Psychology shows that emotional closeness is one of the most regulating experiences a human nervous system can have. It's the feeling of being seen without being evaluated, understood without being analyzed, accepted without being managed. This kind of closeness only exists when the other person is emotionally mature. Emotionally mature people have developed empathy, impulse control, self-awareness. They're comfortable with their own emotions, honest about what they feel, curious about other people's inner worlds. They don't try to control you, fix you, or reshape you. They try to understand you. If you've ever experienced even a small version of that, your nervous system remembers. But if most of your early environments were not emotionally mature, if people reacted instead of reflected, if emotions were punished, minimized, or misunderstood, your brain didn't stop wanting closeness, it stopped expecting it, so it learned something else. Adjusting kept connection intact. Not because you lacked identity, but because you recognized what kind of environment you were in. 2. Your brain associates safety with emotional compatibility. Psychology shows that when early relationships feel unpredictable, the nervous system starts prioritizing compatibility over expression. Not, can I be myself, but will this version of me be tolerated here? So your brain runs quick calculations. Who feels overwhelmed easily? Who takes things personally? Who needs space? You don't become flexible to please. You become flexible to stay regulated inside relationships. Because at some point, being mismatched emotionally created tension you couldn't control. So your system learned, match the frequency. Not to disappear, but to survive emotional dissonance. 3. You're not switching personalities, you're revealing different layers. Psychology shows that personality is not one solid block. It's a collection of traits, responses, and emotional capacities. Different environments activate different parts. You're not becoming someone else. You're becoming a version of yourself that fits the emotional temperature of the room. The problem isn't that you have many layers. The problem is you were never taught that all of them are allowed to exist at the same time. 4. You learned that authenticity once felt risky. At some point, you expressed something real, a need, a boundary, and it didn't go well. Maybe you were ignored. Maybe you were dismissed. Maybe you were misunderstood. The brain stores these moments, not as memories, as instructions. It learns. Certain parts of me create distance, so it starts protecting those parts, not by deleting them, but by hiding them. That's not being fake. That's being protective. 5. This isn't narcissism. It's the opposite. Psychology shows that both grandiose and covert narcissism share one core feature: a fragile and unstable self-concept, not a strong identity, not a solid sense of self. Their self-image depends heavily on external validation, praise, attention, status. It looks like confidence. But underneath, there is no stable inner self. In contrast, people who constantly monitor themselves socially are usually not inflated. They're uncertain, not in a dramatic way, in a quiet, learned way. Research shows covert narcissistic patterns appear more often in environments with high inequality, chronic stress, and especially childhood emotional neglect or abuse, in systems where obedience is rewarded, sacrifice is glorified, and individuality is discouraged. Where being low maintenance feels safer than being visible, your self-monitoring didn't come from self-obsession. It came from growing up in conditions where being too much or too real had consequences. That's not narcissism. That's adaptation. You didn't develop these patterns because you wanted attention. You developed them because you wanted stability. Your nervous system didn't ask, how do I become special? It asked, how do I stay safe inside relationships? And it found answers. Not perfect or painless ones, but intelligent ones.